our Cellar Sleuths channel. March 13th is Riesling Day. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about the wonderful Riesling grape today and just give you a little background if you don't know about Riesling. It's not a white wine that people traditionally think of when they think, I like white wine and I'm going to drink white wine.
It's not as popular in the U.S. for sure.
Yeah, in the U.S., yeah. So I could clarify. In the U.S., we're thinking usually Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, that kind of thing. Not many people think, oh, you know what, I want Riesling. But Riesling is a fantastic grape. It's very variable. You know, a lot of people think of it as really sweet, but it comes as very dry to very sweet, all across that spectrum. And we'll talk a little bit more, but it's a remarkably great food wine too. So.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Most people think of Riesling as being way too sweet, but I don't know. If it's not from Germany, there's a good chance it's dry as it is sweet.
Yeah.
In every other location.
So Riesling is a grape that originated in the Rheingau region of Germany. So it's
pour a little of that way.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. So Germany, of course, is kind of their darling grape. Well, a lot of Riesling, the well-known Rieslings, come out of Germany, and Germany is about as far north in Europe as you can grow wine. It is the northernmost country that grows wine grapes.
Yeah, it's north of the 49th parallel, even further north than Champagne, and they have a hard time getting their grapes to ripen.
They do, and so Germany kind of only has special areas they can grow their grapes. They grow them along rivers on south-facing, really steep slopes. So these slopes, like in Mosel, for example, a well-known region in Germany growing wine, these slopes are extremely steep. And on these south-facing slopes over a river, you get a lot more sun on the south-facing slopes. You can help ripen the grapes a little more with a lot of sunlight. And that sunlight also reflecting up off the water, off the river. That's how you get the grapes to ripen. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So if you're not growing these grapes along these south-facing slopes on rivers, you can't get the grapes ripe enough to make wine.
Right. And what she's kind of saying is when the sun lines up with it, if you have flat ground that far north, you don't get good sunshine. So if you stand that slope up, you'll get sun directly onto it. And you get a river down here, you'll get reflection of the light off the river right up onto the grapes, and you can actually ripen grapes where grapes probably shouldn't even grow.
Right. And honestly, even with all that, the grapes don't get that ripe. They just don't get that ripe.
And takes all season.
Takes all season. And because of that, the acidity is like sky high. Riesling tends to have kind of like lime and green apple and lemon peel and flowery floral notes. But what's the most distinctive, catch your nose, tell you it's Riesling thing?
It's that sense of terpenes or diesel fuel.
Yeah, it sounds gross. I know it smells weird, but you smell this, especially when they're from Germany. Germany is well known for this. These Rieslings, you smell it and it smells like petrol. It smells like, diesel fuel. I know that sounds disgusting. It doesn't taste like that, but it smells like that. So, especially...
It has no taste that I can put my finger on, but you can definitely pick it up. When you're doing blind tasting, if you get that kerosene kind of flavor, it's definitely Riesling, and it's most likely German Riesling.
So Germany has a lot of ways they classify their wine legally, but it tends to be that their best wines, as a general rule, fall into this legal system they've created called the Prädikat. What is the Prädikat? It is a way to measure the ripeness and the sugar levels in the Riesling grapes when they're harvested. So, for example, there's several levels. The first is called Cabernet. Cabernet is Riesling grapes that are just harvested at normal harvest time. And so they measure out a certain amount of sugar in these grapes, but they're just normal, regular harvest grapes. So there's a little bit less sugar, they tend to be less ripe. Then they have one called Spätlese. Spätlese means late harvest. So they let these grapes sit on the vines a little longer. Another week or two. So they're kind of a late harvest. That being said, they get a little riper, and there tends to be higher sugar levels in those grapes when you pick them, when you harvest them. After Spätlese comes Auslese, which is select harvest. So you can let them go late, you let them sit on the vines longer, and they go selectively choose special, just little bunches or whatever, their best grapes. They go through the vineyard and figure out what they think the best grapes are.
Let the other ones sit a little longer.
Let the other ones sit. So they're picking very specifically the grapes that they want. And these ones tend to have a little more yet sugar level at harvest because they've been very selectively allowed to sit there longer and pick them. And these first three levels.
The first three levels can be either dry or sweet. We always think about them in German wines as being sweet, especially when we get up to Auslese, but we've had Auslese wines that definitely have been fermented out dry. You just leave the yeast sit a little longer and consume all the sweetness and raise your alcohol just a little and makes a dry wine.
So a lot of times if you get them from Germany, they are still sweet, but they don't have to be. They don't have to be sweet.
We can give you a little key. When you look at a bottle, if the bottle has alcohol anywhere from 6 to 9%, especially on a Riesling, it's a sweet one. If it's 10 or higher, it's probably going to be a dry one.
Drier anyway, yeah, because they're letting that sugar ferment out. After Auslese, it gets a little more fancy. It goes Beerenauslese. That means berry select harvest. So now they are these special, they've let them sit for a long time, they're picking them out specifically, but these ones often have some noble rot on them now. Noble rot sounds gross. Bear with me, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so worth it. So noble rot is this botrytis. We talked about it in our Tokai video. It's the same thing. It's this mold that grows on the grapes, kind of sucks the water out of the grapes, really heightens up the sugar content. So now you got these grapes you let sit for a long time, you're selectively picking them, they've got some noble rot on them. So that's that one. Yeah. And then the highest level in this Prädikat is called Trockenbeerenauslese, which means dry berry select. And so what that means is you've taken these super high-end grapes, you've let them sit there, there's botrytis on them, there's noble rot, and now you've let them raisinate.
Down to raisins.
You've let them just raisinate. So now they're dry berry select, and they're really sweet. The sugar content is sky high. So these ones, the Beerenauslese, Trockenbeerenauslese, are gonna be sweet. They're just gonna be sweet wines no matter what. There's so much sugar in them, kind of like your Tokai, you can't even ferment out all the sugar. The yeast won't do it. So they're gonna be sweet wines. You can also have ice wine. It tends to be kind of fall in sweetness level, maybe between Beerenauslese and Trockenbeerenauslese, but ice wine, a little bit different.
It's its own thing.
So tell us about ice wine.
Well, it usually happens late in the season when you get a freeze. Matter of fact, they pick these berries in the middle of the night. They go up there and they pick the berries when the berry is frozen, so all the water freezes, and they'll go down and they'll crush these grapes. And what they're doing is they're pushing out the sugar and the alcohol because the water stays behind in this shriveled raisinated grape caught up in the ice. So you have to pick them and squeeze them while they're frozen so you get just the alcohol and sugar content that comes out with the juice. And it makes for that much drier of a grape and more limited juice that comes out, so they make them really sweet.
Really sweet.
Ice wines you don't get ice wines every year.
No.
And you don't get Beerenauslese every year.
No, I have to have the right conditions. So this one right here is a Cabernet. So it's on the bottom end of the Prädikat, where they're picking these grapes right at normal harvest. They don't have as much sugar in them. They're not as ripe.
And this one has a wonderful bouquet. Matter of fact, you can pick up even 4 or 5 inches from the glass. You can pick up that kerosene.
Yeah. And it tastes like, to me, like green apples, like those Granny Smith apples, and lime, maybe even kiwi, kind of oddly enough.
Oh yeah.
It's lovely. But these Riesling wines, because they have a little bit of sweetness and their acidity is so high. And what do we mean by acidity? If you put this in your mouth, now sit there a little bit and then swallow, and then just see how much is your mouth water. Like if you tip your mouth down, I mean, saliva's gonna pour out of my mouth if I just tip my hand, because my mouth's watering so much from this acidity in this wine. But because it's so acidic, Riesling tends to pair really well with any food, but especially also with those foods that are really difficult to pair with, like spicy food. It's so hard to pair wine and spicy food. Riesling, perfect.
This starts all the saliva when all the eating process starts right there. So they're great food wines. Yeah. And this one is 8.5%, so you know it's going to be a little sweet. Even though it's just Cabernet, it's going to come across a little sweet. And it's delightful.
So Germany, well known for Riesling. Alsace region of France is just across the border from Germany. Also, Alsace traditionally over generations has kind of flipped back and forth, and who owns it, whether it's Germany or France. Currently France. They also grow a lot of Riesling there. Theirs are dry. They're always dry. They're going to be dry. They're not going to be sweet like Germany.
You may find a sweet one there, but you have to work for it.
Yeah, so Germany, honestly, most of theirs are going to be lean sweet. Alsace, France, if you see a Riesling from there, it's going to be dry. It's going to be a dry wine. You're not, if you think, oh, I love German sweet Rieslings, and you find an Alsatian Riesling, you may not like it because it's not sweet. Okay, so now we're trying, this one is a Prädikats wine from Germany again. It is a Beerenauslese. So remember, this is that berry select harvest. We're choosing wines that have been left on the vines longer, a late harvest, and they've kind of got some botrytis noble rot on them, and then they've been very hand-picked. So this is going to be sweet. Why, it smells sweet. You know, botrytis...
It smells rich.
If you drink much botrytis wines, like Sauternes, like Tokai, like this, there's a smell of botrytis. Like those wines all have this certain, it's like a honey, or even kind of beeswax honey smell.
Yeah, waxy honey, like honeycomb.
Yeah, and that is a nice, it's a lot richer. So we're talking about a lot higher sugar content, so there's a bigger mouthfeel there. There's a lot of sugar in it.
It has more of a peaches flavor than a honey flavor.
Agreed.
Really ripe peaches and...
It's something, this is definitely a dessert wine. It's a sipper. This is not something you would necessarily, you know, we talked about Riesling being a great food wine. It is. The Cabinet is probably your better option there. These ones are real sweet. This is not a...
After dinner.
It's like an after dinner drink, yeah.
If you're ever a piper, cigar smoker, playing cards after dinner or something, it'd be wonderful that way.
It's a good dessert wine. A tip, if you're having wine with dessert, you always want your wine to be sweeter than the food you're eating. Otherwise, it's going to make your wine taste nasty. So real sweet wines like this.
Sour. This would be great with most desserts, because this would be sweeter than most your desserts.
Yeah. We're going to try one more Riesling tonight as well. This one is going to be a dry Riesling, more dry than the Cabinet we had before. This is a Riesling from Washington State in the U.S. Washington State is the #1 American producer of Riesling. It's up north, so high enough where there's cool enough areas that Riesling will grow well. But this one is dry. They tend to make drier Rieslings. Look how pretty it is, pretty and clear and lovely. And it still has a little bit of those petrol notes, but not as strong as Germany. Like you can get it, but it doesn't jump out at you like it does from Germany.
Crisp and clean. And
This one, smelling it, it's almost more like key lime pie to me. It's like not as sharp of a lime, if that makes sense.
It's still citrus. Still citrus, not really lemony, but I get the lime.
Now when you taste it, that's like a lime. That's like a lime. It jumped right out at you. This is not a sweet wine at all.
I like it. It's got, you know, the first note, when you bring it up by your nose, you almost think we have a Sauvignon Blanc, but it's not. It's got more.
It's very crisp, very acidic. This is going to be a great food wine, I think. There's so much acidity there, and it's so clean and crisp. And so, yeah, Washington making a lot of Riesling. Riesling also well known to come out of southern Australia, like Clare Valley and Eden Valley in South Australia, where it's cool enough. Cool enough to grow Riesling.
I tell you, if you're not a Riesling fan, you just haven't tasted enough of them. But once you find good ones, they're just really hard to beat. They tend to be crowd pleasers. I would stay away from the real sweet ones first, but they all have merit. They all have merit, especially when you start pairing them with foods.
Oh yeah.
They can make the food pop.
Yes, they absolutely can.
Oh yeah.
So Riesling Day is March 13th. You know,
that's why we're here.
Take the opportunity, take the suggestion to go branch out, try some different Rieslings, dip your feet in that. If you're a white wine person and you've always, especially I feel like if you've been a Sauvignon Blanc person, those are crisper white wines too, as opposed to those kind of softer.
Start with your all sauce Rieslings.
Yeah,
you're gonna like them.
You're gonna like them. You're gonna enjoy it. So yeah. Cheers. Happy Riesling Day.
Cheers. Happy Riesling Day.